by Anuratha Swaminathan, and as you all know, we had been organizing several programs, especially during this last 1.5 years, and Indian Classical Dancers Association. For those who have not attended our meetings or not in the WhatsApp group, I would like to say a few sentences about the association. Our objective of the association is to promote Indian classical dances and dancers, and to help each other, assist each other, guide each other, and to know
He froze. We'll give him a couple of seconds.
Lavanya, maybe ask him if he can turn off the video logging in, see if that picks up.
Sure. He's here. He's back.
Sorry, I had a range problem.
No problems.
Yeah, it's okay. So we had been organizing several programs during this period, and those who are not members of the ICDA, we would request you to please give your mobile numbers in the chat box so that we can add you in the group. And also, I'll be giving the number in the chat box so that you can message me also. So you get all informations of whatever is happening in India, abroad, and also the programs organized by various members in various cities. Because we have got a member in every city in India and every major place abroad. So ICDA is now really active, and we have lecture sessions on every weekend. We have got a very useful section coming up next week on Manipuri and on Nattuwangam. That is coming on the next week. So I would request all those who are not in the ICDA to give your mobile numbers in the chat. So today we have one of the eminent dancers, Srimati Anuratha Swaminathan, who is a well-known dancer, a teacher. She was born and brought up in Malaysia, and she is the disciple of Kalaimamani Natya Acharya Guru B. Herambanathan, and she's not only a dancer, she has BSc in software engineering, and she has the qualification of MBA in HR. So she is really multi-talented. On behalf of ICDA, may I welcome Anuratha Swaminathan to this program, and I would request Lavanya Shivaram to officially introduce her. Lavanya.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Welcome one and all. So I'd like to start with a lighter note. For example, we have a lot of discussions going on at our place, probably a discussion about the news that we would have seen or what to have for a breakfast. But then the person whom I'm going to introduce to you has a beautiful lineage where the discussion probably starts with how many avardhanams, what is the style, what is the kala pramanam. So I'm very happy to welcome Anuratha Swaminathan ma'am. Welcome to the show. So I'd like to give you a small introduction. Of course, Gopakumar sir has explained very beautifully about her, but then I'd like to add a few things. So she is Malaysian at birth, by birth, and she has got an initiation into the art form very early under the guidance of Natwanga Tilagam Srimati Indra Manikam, a disciple of Thanjavur Natyam, who used to run a school, Thanjavur Pichaya Pillai School of Bharatanatyam, the first central government registered dance school in the year 1952. So Srimati Indra Manikam later formed the Tanjai Kamala Indra Dance School in Malaysia. So with the grace of God and gurus, also the plans of destiny, she had the opportunity to observe the teachings and methods of Sangeet Natak Academy awardee Kalaimamani Guru Heramanathan from the time of her initial learning, who used to be a periodic guest guru at Tanjai Kamala Indra Dance School. Upon completion of her Arangetram, Srimati Anuradha further pursued her training in Natyam under Guru Heramanathan sir of Tanjavur and continues to be under his guidance until date. So, married to Thanjavur Swaminathan Pillai Heramanathan, who is a Mridangam Vidwan and Natwanar par excellence. Anuradha ma'am is now closely associated with Guru Heramanathan sir. Now she's also become a relative, a very close relative. An ardent practitioner of Thanjavur School of Bharatanatyam all these years. She's been awarded Talai Koli by Thanjavur Babu Pillai Bharatanatyam Vidyalaya in 2007. She's performed extensively, conducted numerous Salangai Pujas and Arangetram in Malaysia and Tamil Nadu. Salem Amateur Arts Academy and District Government Music School, in a joint collaboration, presented an award in the year 2018 as Natya Kala Nipuna. Srimati Anuradha is keen on refreshing the methods and teachings of yesteryear gurus. She encourages young artists to experience, practice, preserve, and spread the ancestral design and structure of the age-old Sadir, Bharatanatyam. That's precisely why we are gathered here, so that she could give us a speck of whatever the beautiful and historical lineage that she is part of. So Srimati Anuradha hopes to document and create reference for Thanjavur School of Natyam through her Thanjavur Dhrsyakavya Koodam, an online platform where she gathers the experiences and advice of Natwanars, gurus, and senior exponents of Bharatanatyam fraternity. She also trains students under the school Thalams, Thanjavur Lakshmikantam Ammal Memorial Silambakodam, the Learning and Performing Center for Bharatanatyam and Thanjavur Natyam. So without further delay, I'd like to welcome Anuradha ma'am once again for this presentation. We hope to get a lot of valuable inputs. So I would like to begin with a question. Ma'am, do you have okay, we all understand that you represent Thanjavur Natyam, but in a normal course of time, we would be exposed to other genre. So I just wanted to understand how you were able to just stick to one style and be with them. So I start with an open question.
First of all, my namaskarams to Mr. Gopakumar sir of ICDA, and to you, Srimati Lavanya, and all those who are present today. I take this opportunity to thank all of you all for giving me this opportunity to say a few things about our ancestral way of Natyam, which today is called Bharatanatyam. And yeah, coming back to the opening question of Mrs. Lavanya, it was merely a destiny, I would call it, as I said, destiny, and God had these plans for me. Because Natyam or dance was not a cup of tea in my family. All of my family members were bankers and sportsmen way back in Malaysia. And just because my mother had expired at an early age, just when I was about 2.5 or 3, I was taken to this dance school just to maybe divert my attention or keep me busy by my grandmother, late Srimati Krishnamal Narayanasamy. And my grandmother was had her ancestral roots back in Tanjavur. So when she heard about this Tanjai Kamala Indra Dance School in Malaysia, And another thing to say is my teacher, Srimati Indra Manikam, and her elder sister, Srimati Kamala Ramachandran, were the pioneers in Malaysia, where they established this Tanjai Kamala Indra Dance School in 1966. At that time, there were very few schools, and this was the one of the pioneer schools, I would say one of the first schools in Malaysia. So that's how my initiation into this Thanjavur School of Natyam began. And I was slowly learning as a child, and throughout my journey, my Guru Heramanathan sir, and my father-in-law now, used to visit Malaysia as a guest guru at Tanjai Kamala Indra Dance School. He used to conduct arangetrams and master classes over there. So I, as one of the pets of my teacher, was admitted to sit down and watch and observe as a child. Sit down, observe, and watch these classes, these senior classes, and so on. And that's how the theories and the plans and the methods was planted on my mind on how to go about. More than learning directly, we have such an children have such an extraordinary talent of imbibing things that they hear at a tender age, at a very young age. So that's how it happened to me. And after my Arangetram, I continued my lessons with Hiramnathan sir. And yes, as any other budding artists, I had the urge to see what was performed outside, what the other artists were performing, what the other schools were teaching, what their methods were. I did not become a student of anybody. I used to watch lots of kacheris, lots of artists perform. We practice together and things like that. And that's when I, on my own, derived that this Thanjavur Natyam had something very structural about it, something that was very unique, which had a very heavy impact, which made me find it very easy and yet a lot of complexity in it. So I continued my journey with Guru Hiramnathan sir, and till today, yes, it's been going on.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a good introduction. So, do you want to share a presentation and take us through the walks of and the importance of Thanjavur Natyam?
Yes, sure. I would like to put this out in a very noted manner, because that'll be a helpful method for those who are watching it right now. Okay. Beginning with Thanjavur Natyam, a blend of complexity and simplicity, as I call it. Let me give you a very plain introduction of Thanjavur Natyam, the general facts that everybody is aware of. This art form was performed by the Devadasis in the temple tradition. It was a temple art, and it had a very closed circle of practitioners and audience at once upon a time. So when this art form started branching out to the layman, the Tanjavur quartets, the brothers, as we all know, the Chinnaya Punnaya Sivanandam and Vadivelu Pillai, they formed a margam, they formed a structure, because before that, there were many items that were performed, and maybe in a very vast manner, and there was no particular structure, ascending or descending or anything like that. So these brothers, they formed the margam and they codified the natyam, which became the Allaripu, Kautvam, Allaripu, Jadiswaram, Shabdam, Varnam, Padam, Kirtane, Tillana, and Mangalam. And there were certain items like Jayadeva Ashtapadi, Tirupuhar, Devaram, which was added to the Margam as well. So later on, another question all of you might have is about the Vallur tradition and the Pandanallur tradition. A little clarification here. The Vallur tradition and the Pandanallur tradition were branches, as you call it, a family tree or a Guru Shishya tree, Parampara tree, which branched out from this basic Thanjavur Natyam. And once later on, after certain years, there were institutions formed to propagate this art form, to make this art form available to everybody, to every child. And once these institutions were formed, so much positivity was there. Everybody had the accessibility to this art form. Bharatanatyam gained a large, vast amount of popularity. They had a lot of followers, a lot of students. It was accessible to everybody. But one sad point was the art form became monotonous. It was boxed. Why? Why do I say so? Because once an institution, once any subject goes to an institution, it has to have syllables. Because the accessibility was large. So what did this Thanjavur Natyam have in particular? These 4 key points before the other minor points were Kala Pramanam, or better understood as the tempo, pace. There were customized lessons, unique individuality, and on top of everything, there were gurus and natuanaths to teach this art form. This Kala Pramanam, what is Kala Pramanam? What is tempo? Why is tempo so important in this Thanjavur Natyam? You see, Thanjavur Natyam emphasizes a lot on execution of adavas. Each adava has its own aesthetics. Each adava is designed to exhibit a beauty. As my Vadyar often says, I would like to recall an incident where he has shared with us. Once he was asked by Isai Periyar K.P. Kittapappillai, what is Natyam? Natyam na ennappa? What is Natyam? He was asked. And of course, all of you all might have variable answers to it. The answer to the question was, Natyam is beauty. Natyam is alaku, beauty. So what makes something beautiful? An organized, unperturbed, undisturbed objects or movements gives beauty, exhibits beauty. So coming back to this, Thanjavur Natyam has got adavas which has a lot of beauty. The adavas are very structured. The execution or the chaining of the adavas, the collaboration of adavas would have a continuity. A finishing of adava, a completion of an adava would be a beautiful start to the other adava, to the next adava. Every adava has got a bhava. You see, adavas are not abhinaya-less. Adavas have also got abhinaya. See, when a teiha, teiyi, teiha, teiyi takes place, this is an expression. When a tat, tei, ta, ha takes place, this is an expression. When there's teiyum, tei, teiya, teiyi, this is an expression. Your eye movement is an expression. Even a tei, ya, tei is an expression. So each of these adavas should not be disturbed, should not be juxtaposed unevenly. So what is the solution to this? It's a relaxed kala pramanam. It's an enjoyable kala pramanam where every artist, be it the performer, be it the guru, the natwanar, be it the vocalist, be it the supporting mridanga vidwan, be it the violin vidwan, everybody would be able to enjoy the kacheri. That was what the Adava perfection and completion meant. Now, I have a small example for this Adava perfection and completion. In our Thanjavur Natyam choreography, we are used to maintaining our aramandi throughout the performance. I mean, at least throughout the Adava Korvays or Tirmanams. Our Tirmanams and our Adava Korvays, be it a Jadiswaram, be it a Tillana, be it an Alaripu, does not give us an opportunity to relax our knees at any point. I must quote Srimati Priya Murli, who has once shared with me that why is that in our Tanjavur school, we don't have Adavas which has a Samapadam or a standing posture. All our Adavas are based on Aramandi. That's one reason. People might call it boring. People might call it, it's not so exciting. But mind you, an Adava choreography, a Tirmanam or a Adava Korve, which is performed in my Thanjavur Natyam, demands a lot of practice, a lot of sustenance, and a lot of experience. Because to sustain each and every adava in the said kala pramanam that which I am saying is difficult. When you tend to execute an adava at a higher speed, the noticeability of the adavas becomes less. When the adavas are sustained in the proper kala pramanam, the view of each adava is very clear. So you have to sustain every single move, every single beat. So here I have an example, an Adi Tala Tirmanam with the beginning of Mukkaledam. That is 3 matras, Talli. So first, I would like you to listen to this audio. Then there'll be a video presentation by one of my students. Okay, here I would like all of you all to watch this. Okay, here, as I said, one example of an adava which took place there is this tei ya tei yi. We call it the circle adavu. Tei, ya, tei, yi. The finishing position of this adavu in the Thanjavur Natyam ends in Aramandi. As a result, the next adavu continuation doesn't have a halt there. The performer or the artist don't feel the difficulty in continuing with the next adavu. The choreography is set in such a way. You see, the same Tirmanam, this same Tirmanam has a different style of choreography. The previous choreography on this Aditala Tirmanam had a cross rhythm. That's the Tanjavur choreography, which I'll come to the topic later on. Here, the tattu of the second variety. I'll go on to the video. You see, so before we move on to the next subject, next subtopic, these two Tirmanams were recited with the same solace, but choreographed in two different manners, depending on the ability, not to say ability, on the body language or the acceptance of the student, the mood of the Vadyar. All this mattered in Thanjavur Natyam, actually. I'll be coming to that later on. So later, this Kala Pramanam was also very crucial and vital in sustaining Abhinaya and to express Abhinaya. Why? Thanjavur quartet compositions, they composed compositions for everything. Shabdam, Jadeswaram, Shabdam, Varnam, Padams, Kirtanes, Tillanas. For example, I'm looking at the Varnams here. You see, they have a very large number of Varnams, of compositions which is still being unperturbed, untouched. For example, Adimoham Kondain in Shankara Varnam, Mohamana in Bhairavi, Ye Maguva Bodhinchara in Danyasi, Swami Alitva in Kamas, Shaki in Ananda Bhairavi, Karuna Judave in Atana, and many more Varnams. This Varnams, why I had mentioned the Ragams is because look at the Ragams. Those of you all who are familiar with this Ragams and Sangeetam as well, look at the Ragams, Kamas, Shankaravarnam, Bhairavi. How suitable, how subtle would it be to express Abhinaya in this Ragam? To even sing it with the mood and the expression, the Kala Pramanam was so crucial. To express the Sahityams. You see, Thanjavur quartet Varnams, when you look at the Sahityams of Pallavi, Anupallavi, and so on, they were not very elaborate in words. Some Varnams have one or two words in a line. So you don't get to actually use Hasta Mudras all the way. There would be necessity for the artist to express. There's a lot of difference between choreographing a Sahityam with Hasta Mudras and bringing out the ability in an artist or a student to express the Abhinaya. So this is the need of the Kala Pramanam. You see, another thing is Kala Pramanam is set by the Natuanar. The Natuanar holds the full power of the Kacheri. The Kala Pramanam is set during the Irevanakam. It goes through the Alaripu, Jadaswaram, Shabdam, Varnam, Padam, Javali, Tillana, till the Mangalam. Once the vocalist starts singing the Irevanakam, the Natuana takes up the Talam. And it's the Natuana that sets the Kala Pramanam, sets the Talam, sets the pace for the Kacheri. And he is responsible to hold it through the Kacheri. The pace doesn't get fast. The Kala Pramanam doesn't get fast. Because only the Natuanar, only the Guru knows the mentality, the ability, and what the student can do. So it's a relationship between the Guru and the Shishya, the Guru and the student to decide the Kala Pramanam. This is a very, very crucial point of our Thanjavur Natyam. I move on to the next point. Customized lessons. Creativity. As I mentioned earlier, once the institutions started propagating this art form became monotonous. Why? Because it was syllabalized. Why wasn't it syllabalized earlier during the Natwana times and the Gurus? No, it was not. Not in purpose, but that was the mentality of the teachers, the Gurus who were teaching the art form. The art of choreography. The art of choreography depended on the mood of the Guru, the capacity of the student, the capability of the student. You won't believe it. A day-to-day class would differ. You know, in the morning, the student would have come. She would have been down in energy, or should have had something else in mind, or the Guru would have sat down to teach and he would have had something else in mind. And, or he would have had quite a fast-paced day. So the choreography would be all different, completely different. And the same student would have attended the class in the evening. And you would see the choreography of the same item would be completely different. So it's the formula, it's the method, it's the rule, it's the border that determined the Natyam. Where the border lies, where the rule lies. And this decided the creativity of both the artist and the Guru. For example, I would like to show you all an Allaripu. You see, this Allaripu, you all would be very familiar with. Tam, dita, te, tate, 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 tam, dita, te. This was the normal second speed of the ending didite of Tisra Allaripu. Here I give you a small variety. Here, it was a very minute creativity, but that is the borderline of the creativity in Thanjavur Natyam. My Vadyar says, he has told us from the very beginning, you don't need 2 hours. You don't need to be innovative and creative throughout 2 hours and cutting and pasting and creating everything new to prove your intelligence. A 2 minutes, a quick creativity will prove your intelligence as a teacher, as a guru, as an artist. So the Tanjavur boundary is, they have a set syllables. Alaripu, for example, Alaripu should start with an atomy, and then first column, second column, third column, and then the end, mudivu part of it. So where can we insert a small level of creativity? So here it is. This kind of things, this kind of creativity rules cannot be read in books, cannot be searched on Google, cannot be searched on YouTube. This only can be achieved when you sit with a teacher. When you sit with the teacher and the teacher tells you and you observe what the teacher is doing, and sometimes you have a question and the question gets answered, sometimes it doesn't get answered. All these things comes under the Guru-Shishya relationship later. So this is one small example. And coming to the variety of choreography. As I said, we have so much of compositions and choreography, even choreographies, which are yet to be explored from our ancestors' style. You see, those days, the Nattuvanars, starting from the Thanjavur quartet brothers, Chinnaya, Ponaya, Vadivelu, and Sivanandam Pillai, these legends were held responsible to propagate, to cultivate this art form. They were full-time artists. Even Nattuvanars, still today, some of the Nattuvanars still today, that the gurus and Nattuvanars who come, who hails from the lineage till today, they practice this art form as their sole income, sole professional task. They spend their full time in this art form. So don't tell me they did not know to innovate, to do this new things that we are attracted towards too. They knew this was the border, this was the boundary, this is all that can be done, and your innovation should lie in between this. Once it goes out of the boundary, there are so many other art forms. So once it coordinates with that, it becomes a new product altogether. So you can name it some other thing. Innovate Bharatanatyam, name it some others. There's so many other names that, that can be named. Bharatanatyam has already been created with a structure by legends. They have worked tremendously. They have spent their lifetime to codify this, to give us a product. This is something like a product which has been given to us to enjoy it, not to resell it, not to reproduce it. Because they have, right from the kings to this legendary Nattuvanars, they have given us this with a responsibility. You see, when I talk about a variety of choreography, where does a variety of choreography come from? As I said just now, we had seen Atisra Alaripu. All of you all might know there are so many types of Alaripu. There's Misra Alaripu, Kanda Alaripu, there's Sangirna Alaripu, there's Panjanada Alaripu. These were all choreographed by those Nattuvanars. And Alaripus should be within a certain number of aksharams. Our creativity and innovation is endless, of course. Human brain, we work tremendously, but everything needs to have this so-called box. Innovation, what end does the innovation go to? Now we have it, Alaripu, in Chatusra Jambai Talam, which is 7 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You might say, what is the difference between a Chadusra Jamba Alaripu and a Misra Alaripu? It's 7 and 7. It's the shoulder cut. It's the composition that differs. It's how you break the 7 that differs. And this has to be learned. It cannot be mugged. It cannot be watched and reproduced. So I have a very small clipping again with this Didate example on how a Chadusra Jumper Alaripu has in finishing. You see, in Misra Alaripu, tom 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 taka tadi kita taka te 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 taka tadi kita taka tom 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 taka tadi kita taka te 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 taka tadi kita taka. This is how it's structured. One example, one variety. Of course, there are many varieties which we will be able to get it from, but one variety. This Chadusra Jambalaripu. So if you have seen the variety there on the second speak was didate takka didate takka didate followed by the third speak. So these are the boundaries which we have learned from our gurus. What Thanjavur Natyam was all about. These boundaries, the sticking up to the tradition. The next is about the unique individuality. You see, we have a norm in our Guru Parampara, in the Tanjava tradition, which now is quite common among everybody, every kacheri. I'm not being negative about it, but I'm just expressing how we go about it. What Mayavadya has told me. The connect and emote to the audience. This is composition, as I said, our traditional compositions lie in many languages, mainly sometimes Telugu, Tamil, Marathi, Sanskrit. There's a norm being practiced now before each kacheri, before each item, before each piece. The lyrics and the sahityams are being explained, sometimes even with hastabhinayas. The sahityams being translated in English and basically being performed like a Laya Kavide or something like that. I would like to say an example what my Vadya told me. He asked me, you're drawing a picture of a lion and you're actually writing down there, lion, Lion. So aren't you not confident of your painting? Won't your painting depict your intention? So you have not drawn a lion. You have to state it's a lion. What are we performing? It's an art form. It's a Dhrsyakavya, a visual poetry. A poetry can only be read, but this is a visual poetry which can be seen, which can be felt. So don't we have the responsibility of conveying these items, conveying the message, conveying our natyam to the audience through our abhinaya, through our natyam? So that to connect and to emote to the audience needs a very serious practice. It's very serious for the dancer, for the artist, because the success of a kacheri lies only when the audience are glued to their seat. When the audience feel that we don't understand what's going on, then it's pointless. It's pointless for us to be performing a visual poetry. So our main aim of any natyam should be to connect and to emote to the audience. Performance that create a mark and significance. Why Thanjavur Margam, Thanjavur Natyam only creates a significance and it creates a mark? I would like to state a point that Isai Periyar KP Kittapapillai, all of you all might be familiar with the legend and the god of Bharatanatyam, the lineage of the Tanjavur quartets, have produced many students, many artists. Just to name a few: Dr. Vaijayanti Mala, Dr. Sudharani Raghupati, Srimati Padmini Rao, Srimati Maladi Dominic. I would like to state a question here. Does any of these artists have a similarity in their performance? Have a similarity in their way of executing this Natyam? They all perform the very strict Thanjavur Natyam. Dr. Vaijayanti Mala, till to date, she's above 85. She would have performed more than 1,000 kacheris. And even her kacheri till today has a houseful audience. She doesn't compromise an inch. Let me tell you, I've heard this from very close acquaintances of Dr. Vaijayanti Mala. She doesn't deviate an inch. She doesn't deviate a centimeter. She doesn't deviate a millimeter from what Avadhyar has taught her. After all this, even 60 or 70 years, Hateyate is still there. When whatever Adava she does is glued to the rules. She doesn't compromise in anything at all. Her Adavas create a trademark. The choreography for her, Tirmanams, which I have seen, consists of merely 4 or 5 Adavas. 4 is too much, I would say. For a Tirmanam of maybe 4 Avartanams, for an Aditala Tirmanam of maybe 4 Avartanams, a combination of 4 Adavas might be a bit too much. So the variety was not focused there. The variety of Adavas were not focused in this Thanjavur Natyam. It was the execution of the Adavas. And she succeeded in creating a mark for herself. Now going on to Dr. Sudharani Raghupati. Sudharani Amma has got a wide range of students till to date. Her grace, and coming from Srimati Priya Murli, a most senior student of Sudharani Amma, Kittapapillai has told Sudharani Amma that, "Ye vlo murkikre, saukyama aadu. Why so serious? Why so firm? Why so stick straight? Be graceful." That's what Natyam is all about. So this has come from Sudharani Amma. Padmini Rao, Srimati Padmini Rao, Srimati Maldi Dominic, the range of choreographies, the range of compositions, the variety of compositions, lessons that have been taught to them, each one of them had a trademark. Each one of them had a trademark. There are so many productions today, so many artists today, so many kacheris today. We are accessible to so many programs via YouTube, via live kacheris, anything, the online platform today. But how many of y'all can recall? How many of y'all can recall at least the last 5 Natyams that you watched? I can still recall Dr. Vaijayanti Mala Amma's Tirmanams. to state here, I even have a similar experience. Certain compositions were taught to me at a very early age. As I told you, my initiation into this art form began at a very early age of 3 or 4. I can still remember the choreography that my teacher taught me for Kalyani Jadiswaram, so Saveri Jadiswaram, for Tille Ambalam Shaptam, for Ayal Sherir Saptam. Because it had a method. It'll definitely create a mark. You see, the success of this Natya Kacheris is solely dependent on the execution of the performance by the artist. To leave a mark and to create a significance is the sole responsibility of the artist. Why do I say so? Because the orchestra is a support for the Natya Kacheri. The success of a Kacheri doesn't lie wholly on the orchestra. 70% of the success of a Kacheri lies on the ability and the sustenance of the Nattuvanar and the artist. Coming to the Nattuvanar, why, it's a common thought. Guru Nattuvanar should have been the first topic. Yeah, you're right. Why I have brought you to the end of this conversation is because I wanted to speak about all these things, and all these things relied on the Guru. You see, as I said earlier, Bharatanatyam has become accessible to everybody. It has gained a lot of popularity. Every child in a family learns Bharatanatyam. There's a lot of teachers everywhere. But mind you, the number of gurus are a handful. A teacher and a guru differs. Why? There are certain qualities in our Thanjavur Natyam that marks a person's ability as a guru. A person who takes the responsibility as a guru, first and foremost, should be able to conceptualize a presentation. What is conceptualize a presentation? What does that mean? A guru can visualize a kacheri even before it happens. A margam has many items, but the guru decides which item or which piece would be highlighted. Not every kacheri, it can be an artist X, Y, or Z, but not X will have 4 kacheris in a week. But all 4 kacheris in that week would not highlight the Varnam only. The guru in this place decides which audience, which environment, what situation, which item is to be highlighted. Would a Jadiswaram with intricate and complexity of calculations be appropriate in this stage? Will a Varnam with a complex Trikala Tirmanam be appropriate in this situation? That's why we don't have a book of closed syllables. Why I'm saying this here is, I have an example of a very, very crisp Adi Tala Trikala Tirmanam. Sometimes we want, not sometimes, hailing from the Tanjavur lineage, the basic Point is, we want a proper structured margam. So we try our best to accommodate and to go through the kacheri in a proper accordance. So let's say a short time, a half an hour kacheri maybe. We start up with a quick kautvam, a laripu, followed by a shabdam, and towards a varnam. And a varnam might have just about 15 minutes time. Tirmanams like this would be the choice of a guru. That's about it. This Tirmanam can be choreographed in merely 4 or 5 adavis, four or five types of adavis. A guru, a person who is a guru, a person who calls himself as a guru, decides on the spot what's going to happen in the kacheri. Here, we want an elaborate kacheri. Why? It is not, when some people have this concept, when something is done in a little bit simple way, they come to a conclusion that a person is not capable enough. No. A guru knows which situation is best to elaborate. Now I have an example of an elaborate Trikala Tirmanam, Aditala Trikala Tirmanam.
Kalam kita kati kuta kata kita tumta di ta ta ri ta ta jam ta jam di ta ri ta ta jam ta jam ta ri ta 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 di ta da ti ta ta jum ta jum di da ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta da ti ta ta jum ta jum di da ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta da ti ta ta jum ta jum di ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 ti ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum di ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum di ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum di ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum di ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum di ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum di ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta jum ta ti ta 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 di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta ta di ta ta ti ta ta jum ta jum ta jum ta di ta ta jum ta di ta ta nam ta di ta ta nam ta di ta jum ta ta jum ta ta nam ta di good not tum tak get ta di good not tum that di good not tum tak get ta di good not tum tak get
So this was an elaborate Trikala Tirmanam. As we coming to the relationship of a guru and shishya, there are certain examples that I would like to share with you. It is the key, the ultimate key towards the successful career of an artist. For example, Srimati Priya Murali Akka, she has been a disciple of Dr. Siddharani Ragapati for the past 48 years. Guru Radha also has a shishya like that, Pranati. And there are several artists who have been featured in my Instagram conversations. All their careers have been a pure success. You see, when I earlier mentioned the fixing of a Kala Pramanam at the beginning of a Kacheri, there are certain things that happen, very minute factors. When the orchestra sits on one end of the stage, the artist enters from the opposite side of the stage. Why? This might be a very, very simple thing. This might be a very, very simple thing. Why can't she enter from the same side where the orchestra is seated? This is what my Vadyar has taught us, have trained us all the way. When the Natvanar or the Vadyar or the Guru sits on one end of the stage and the dancer, the artist enters from the opposite side of the stage, first, before the Kacheri starts, she stands there opposite to her Vadyar, observing him, the emotions, the expressions on his face. She waits. The Guru or the Natvanar or the Vadyar makes sure everybody is settled on the orchestra side. Make sure everything is going on the right way. It is the Kala Pramanam that he wanted. The mic, the mute system is all fine. He is settled. He looks at the student on the opposite side and he judges that the student is settled. She's ready. She's relaxed. And he nods. She comes out to the stage. Look at the relationship. It's very minute. It's very minute. It's very sensitive. It might be a very, very simple thing. Mind you, it would sound as a very simple thing, but those who have experienced it will know the energy that we get, a slight nod from the Vadyar. And when a piece is being performed, there are so many things that happen on the stage. These things are very significant for a Guru-Shishya relationship. And it is one key point that determines the success of the Kacheri. At times where little things, sometimes we might be stuck for breath. Once we finish the Tirmanam and we complete the Aradhi, we might be stuck for breath. And a slight glance, the Vadyar or the Natvanar will know. He will indicate to the vocalist to sing the line one more time before we get into our next Adav. These are the very minute points of a Guru-Shishya relationship, which is a highlight of our Thanjavur Natyam. The experience of learning from a Guru, from a Natvanar, lasts a lifetime, because it's their way, their method of putting it forth. It would be their idea on your mind. You see, even right from my childhood, I've had these beautiful, very beautiful, very blessed opportunity to have learned from my gurus. Even my teacher, Srimati Indra Manikam, I can still remember during my Arangetram. And mind you, before I go into this, our Thanjavur Natyam has a scope of training students in a completely different method. I had learned almost 3 or 4 varnams even before my Arangetram. When it came to my Arangetram, I still remember this incident where, as usual at that teenage age, I was a lazy person, as any teenagers would be. So, and I was also engrossed with my university studies, that I remember telling my teacher, I have learned these 3 varnams from you. I'll do one of them, because it was so much in my head. And she said, no. We will start a new varnam for Arangetram. And that is how they teach. And that is how our Thanjavur Natyam works. That is the mentality of our Thanjavur gurus. We create for each student. And what happens was, when I was coming to this guru-shishya relationship, from that age itself, I had a flair of, long sustained abhinayams. I loved to do perform abhinayam much and nirta. Yeah.
Of Abhinayam, can you please demonstrate a little bit for us?
Sure, definitely. So what my teacher used to say was, நீ ஆடிக்கிட்டே இரு, அவங்க பாடிக்கிட்டே இருப்பாங்க, நீ தட்டி மட்டும் எடுத்தோன்னு அந்த சாகித்யம் முடிஞ்சிருச்சுன்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்குவோம். It was like, I had the scope. No, it was not like first kai, second kai, third kai, fourth kai. No. We were explained the meaning. We were sat down and explained the meaning. That also happens with my Vadyar. When he teaches a padam or a javali or even a varnam for that sake, it might take a day or 2 just to sit down and talk, to explain the meaning. And the responsibility is given to you to bring out the emotions. That is the experience of learning the Thanjavur Natyam. And as Srimati Lavanya has requested, let me see.
Ma'am, one request before you start. Do you want to stop the screen, pause the screen share for a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Exactly, ma'am. That way we can see you in full screen.
Okay.
Thanks, Lavanya.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. What I'm saying here is this Varnam is Atimoham Kunden in Rakam Shankara Varnam, a composition of the Tanjavur quartets. Thanks to Lavanya, she has who had requested me for this exhibition of this Abhinaya. I had earlier mentioned the Tanjavur quartet compositions at times consisted of only a word or 2 in a kandiga. For example, this Pallavi is divided into 2 phrases. Adimoham Kondain Mane, Araitodi Vadi. And the second kandige consists of only 1 word. Andarangamai Dane. And this will also exhibit the Kala Pramanam, which suits the Tanjavur quartet composition.
Atimoham Varnam, Ragam Shakaravarnam, Adithalam. Atimogam Kunde Manye Azhai Thodi Vadi Ati Mogam Kunde Manye Azhai Thodi Vadi Ati Mogam Kunde Manye Azhai Thodi Vadi Ati Mogam Kunde Manye Azhai Thodi Vadi Ante Rangamai Tane Ante Rangamai Tane Ante Rangamai Tane Ante Rangamai Tane Anta Rangamai Tane Anta Rangamai Tane.
That was amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You see, this is just an example. This is just an example, a very, I wouldn't even say the tip of the iceberg, but even lesser than that. Now you understand what I meant by Kala Pramanam. To sustain that Kala Pramanam. Now, this is the experience of the Thanjavur Natyam. I have covered a very, very small portion of it. So I hope I have done a very minor justice to the topic and all of you who have attended the session today. And thanks to Mr. Gopakumar sir of ICDA. And on the Natwangam, who recited the Tirmanans was my husband, Mr. Swaminathan Ramanathan, the eldest son of Sangeet Natak Academy awardee Kalaimamani Thanjavur Guru B. Ramanathan. And the audio that I've used now for the Adi Moham Kondin was Srimati Roshni, a very close friend, vocalist, an experienced vocalist for our Bharatanatyam Kacheris here. And thank you, Srimati Lavanya, for hosting me today. And the artists who helped me, these children are intermediate level artists and learners. Salvi Dharani, Salvi Kritika, Salvi Shriprabha, and Salvi Monisha. Yes, Lavanya.
So, ma'am, thank you for hosting this particular slide. So, in case if anybody wants to know more about or explore Thanjavur Natyam, you can please contact ma'am in these social handles and the email and the contact ID. We'd like to pause for a moment if somebody wants to take a screenshot so that it'll be useful for you.
And I think I've gone beyond the time. So maybe you should have intimidated me or something.
Well, I was in a trance. I was admiring the Abhinaya.
Thank you, dear.
So, ma'am, can we go for a quick question answer session if anybody wants?
Sure, definitely.
I did see a couple of questions in the chat session.
Sure.
If
Should I stop my screen sharing?
Yes, please, ma'am.
Yes.
I'd like to take the first question. It's from Amu Shiva. What is the relationship between the Guru and Sishya before and now, ma'am?
Well, this definitely cannot be compared because those days a Gurukulam was so much in tradition, and we did not have time limits. I tried to accommodate that in my classes now, but it's not possible. Now I still remember this small little tiny incidents where when I think back and look at it now, it feels like a funny moments where my classes used to be from right in my childhood days at Tanjai Kamala Indra Dance School. My teacher used to start at 9 and it will go on about until at least 12:30 or 1. And we don't have a fixed timing. Where my grandfather used to be waiting to pick me up, and I'll be so scared to go and ask my teacher, "Can I leave?" Every time I go and stand there, I said, "Can I leave?" She said, I don't know. And I'll go back to my grandfather and say, "Wait, let me wait." There was no time limit. So the relationship was completely different. And today we no students are able to spare more than an hour or so because they are so engrossed with other subjects as well. So of course it's different. Of course it's very different.
So, ma'am, there is a question from Vasundhara, which she's just asking, ma'am, why is Tanjavur style Kala Puranam the temple? I did not get it. Vasundhara, may I request you to please unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, even I do not get that.
Vanakkam, ma'am.
Vanakkam.
I just wanted to ask, why is Thanjavur style so much related to temples?
Because the Natyam itself was the main intention of Natyam was an offering to the god. It's a part of the Nritya Upacharas, the Soraksha Upacharas. Like the same way a Deeparadhana is done in the temple, the same way where the Nadaswaram and Taval is being played, Natyam was performed as an offering to the god, to the Lord. And that's where the Natyam started, in fact.
You putting golden color also, Paji?
So it has to be associated with the temple anyhow. It is not only the Thanjavur Natyam which is associated with the temple. It started from there and it's moved out to the stages. That's about it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Ma'am, there's one more question. What is the major difference between Tanjavur and Kalakshetra style of Bharatanatyam? There's one Kritika Haridas who has asked this question.
Okay. As I stated earlier, this I hope the same way that you've asked me this question, my answer to goes in a healthy manner. Tanjavur is the birthplace of Natyam. Tanjavur is not a school. Tanjavur Natyam is a style of Natyam. It's a school of, it's a Bani. I wouldn't say Bani. Tanjavur is a form of Natyam. Thanjavur Natyam is the form of Bharatanatyam, where Kalakshetra is an institution. Everybody would agree with me on that. Kalakshetra was an institution which was created by the respectable Srimati Rukmini Amma to be able to cater this to students of all walks of life. Thanjavur Natyam is the form of Natyam, whereas Kalakshetra is an institution of Natyam.
So there's one more question, ma'am. Why the Tanjavur compositions have only 2 words or so? I think you have answered this.
Yes, I've answered. It's not, they have only 2 words or so. It's not like that. It differs. But the more lesser the words are in a Sahityam, the scope to improvise it during the presentation is more.
There's one question from Kalai Vadivu. How to improvise our expression part for Sahityam? Any practice method we have to follow?
This lies majorly on the understanding of the Sahityam first. Even if it is Tamil, my Vadyar says a word, Padam Pirichi Paathu Purinjikanum. So to even understand a basic stance, sometimes it's complicated even in Tamil. So you first have to understand it and then listen to it multiple times. Get into the mood of it. And as I said, when it comes to me, it was the practice and the teaching of my teachers, my teacher, my Vadyar, where they sit and explain and you imbibe it. And it's an interest. Yes.
So, question from Atira Shankar. Namaskaram. At present, we see persistent effort from young dancers in getting geometrical line in their adavu. But in the dancers, you see a lot of emphasis on going with the flow of the jati or the swara with the fluent body movements. What should be a young student's concentration while learning the adavus and basics of Bharatanatyam?
Of course, while learning the basics of Bharatanatyam, you have to be very, very staunch in your practice. Get your adavus correct in all the 3 columns. Take your time, practice. And as I said earlier, know the aesthetics, understand the aesthetics of each and every adavu. When you go for the Steyum Tatta adavu, as I said, every adavu, for example, every adavu has its aesthetics. When you go for the Steyum Tatta adavu, the path that your hand flows, where it stops, the stretch of your hand, the lines. So when this gets imbibed in your body, when you keep practicing and practicing and practicing, and you understand each and every adavu, each and every position and each and every point of your hand and legs and your eye of each adavu, it gets imbibed in your body. And then when you start using them in your pieces, it flows effortlessly. And the grace accompanies that.
Ma'am, next question is from Swati. what is your point of view for doing degrees in Bharatanatyam? I think she refers to the college degrees.
Yeah, yes. Let me make it a point here that I've been, by God's grace, practicing this art form for nearly about 35 years now. And I don't have any degrees. I don't have any degrees, nor I have any masters or any PhD in Bharatanatyam. I am a software engineer by profession. But my experiences and learning is way much vast than those who hold a degree or a master's. So this is my very, very personal opinion, very, very personal opinion. I quote and I unquote, a very, very personal opinion. I believe in years of experience. I believe in enjoying the art form. I believe in treating the art form seriously. This is not a joke. This is not a business. But when you treat an art form with due respect, I think you'll be able to get much better positive things later in future.
Now, I'd like to combine two questions, one from Jyoti Jyotish and Anupama Verma. Both are on the similar lines. So Jyoti is asking, kindly give a gist of the difference between Thanjavur Bani and the Pandanallur Bani. And a similar question, is Thanjavur Natyam followed as such in Pandanallur and Vazhavur styles as well? So,
okay, as I said earlier, the Vadyars or gurus from the Pandanallur and Vazhavur, they branched out as one family tree, another one is the Guru Shishya Parampara tree from the Tanjavur school. So obviously, when one teacher's training or guidance will differ to another teacher, I would find a Teha Teyi done in a Pashra Pataka more beautiful, and another teacher will find it better when you stretch your hand straight. So it's the schools, they don't differ much. There's no such thing. At least what my Vadyar has told me is there's no such things as Bani. It's Natyam. It all came out from the same root. It's just that the different Vadyars had different styles of teaching, different thoughts. That's how it became a school altogether.
so there's also another question, ma'am, from Litika, which is also based on the same. Is Pandanallur style of Bharatanatyam also a Thanjavur Natyam? So which?
Yes, it is. It is.
Ma'am, I have come to an end of all the chat questions. If anybody, any person in the audience wants to voice their questions, they can, please. You can please unmute and ask your questions if you have.
And Namaskar, Jai Jagannath to all. This is Srinivas Katwari. So I very humbly, I have a small question to ma'am. Ma'am, can we follow the other dance form to enhance our presentation? Though we are belongs to the other dance form, can we follow the dance form done other than my dance form to inspire, to enhance my presentation? Is there any scope? Or if we will follow other dance form, we will lose our boundary, we will lose our grammatical periphery. So is there any fear factor is there?
That seriously depends on your willpower, sir. Depends on your willpower and your ability to separate and look at each form with a different perspective. If you are capable of, separating each form, that I understand that you are referring to different forms of art forms, such as maybe Mohiniyattam or a Kuchipudi or a Kathak. Is that so, sir? Am I getting your question right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Because I belong to Odissi dance, and I am following. I'm also learned a little bit Kathak from the Rani Karnadi ji, and I have keen interest for the Bharatanatyam also. That's why I asked if I am following some other dance form, be staying with my form to enhance my abhinaya, to enhance my performance? Is there any fear factor that I will go beyond my grammatical boundary?
No. That seriously depends on your ability to segregate and concentrate on each art form equally, sir. That's what I believe. If you are so concrete in your base form, on your base, then there wouldn't be any influence from the other side. And you have the time to cover both art forms. Well and done. Well done to you. Congrats.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so
This is Jyoti Jyotish here. Thank you for raising my question, Lavanya. I don't have a question now. I just want to say something. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Huge thanks to, first of all, Gopakumarji for giving us such wonderful sessions. And Anuradha ji, thank you so much for reaffirming my faith in the age-old Guru Shishya Parampara. Each time I came across some new artists and other practitioners of this great, wonderful divine art form say that they are doing a MA or an MPhil or a doctorate in Bharatanatyam, I would normally feel that have I left out on something, despite learning in the Guru Shishya Parampara. Thank you for reaffirming my faith in this wonderful Guru Shishya Parampara, and also giving me the confidence that yes, I have not lost out on anything. Instead, I have gained a lot. Thanks a million. And I know it's next to impossible for you to remember each and every participant of your glorious workshops, but I have been one of the blessed ones who had participated in one of your workshops wherein you had taught us Jatiswaram.
Wow, thank you so much.
In a way, you also are my guru. So my pranams to you and thank you so much. Thank you so much. May Ambal bless you with long life and wonderful health so that you can contribute more and more, and we can be a beneficiary of your knowledge as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dear. Thank you so much. And I would like to say something, that she has used this word guru. I strictly believe, I tell all my students, I pass this one cent worth of opinion to all those who are acquainted with me. As I said earlier, there are lots of teachers, but we have a handful of gurus. So none, I believe those, it's purely my opinion again, that guru, that stance of guru is not for us. We are merely teachers, and we are propagating this art form as much as we can. That's all. Thank you.
And the other thing that you mentioned, without compromising on the tradition and without trading it for money, without commercializing it, it gives an innate sense of profound happiness and peace of mind, which nothing can give you in this world.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Just to add, Jyoti, ma'am, if you have noticed, this session is being attended by ma'am's teachers, the gurus, Indra Manikam ma'am and Heramanathan sir. So I think, ma'am, true to the saying that if a student goes one step, the guru takes 5 steps towards the student. That's what's happened today. We have witnessed that. So with this note,
just one more thing, Lavanya, I won't take long. Since you just mentioned that ma'am's gurus are also there, may I also take this opportunity to give my humble pranams to all the gurus. Thank you so much. We need your blessings more than anything else in this world. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we have come to the end of the presentation. I once again thank Gopakumar sir for this wonderful opportunity, and Anuradha ma'am. It was a wonderful session. We did not know the passage of time. We were just glued to our seats. So that there is success there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My most humble gratitude to Gopakumar sir and ICDA for giving me this opportunity. Sir, I hope I've done justice to your slots this weekend. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Lavanya, for being such a lovely host. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anuradha ma'am. We had wonderful participants. We had more than 100 participants today. And we had dancers from all over the world. And we thank all the participants who have come today to participate in the session. And to Anuradha ma'am, there are no words to express our thanks. We really express our gratitude towards you, and we would like you to give us more ideas what all things ICDA can do in future also. And also I would like to thank Lavanya Chivaram, who has joined from USA, for hosting this program. You are also superb, Lavanya, in hosting, and you have done a wonderful job in nominating Anuradha ma'am for this program. So thank you very much. So thank you all the participants. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar.